the Children of Alabama Indy Grand Prix at Barber Motorsports Park. It's green, we're racing in Alabama.
A great jump from McLaughlin. He's going to lead comfortably into turn one. It's Lundgaard and Award side by side.
Whoa!
And we got a spin at the back. Stingray robs around.
And Jack Harvey, Kiffin Simpson splits them. They're able to continue, but drama at turn one.
Check for damage if you can when they go by.
Easy to get bunched up. How about Christian Lundgaard, the 45, looking to the inside, and here comes Scott Dixon in the orange and blue PNC car, battling his teammate Marcus Armstrong. Dixon going forward already.
Behind him, Roman Grosjean was trying to make some moves. And we see Award and Lundgaard side by side at the top of the hill. Hard to get it done there. Single file through this roller coaster downhill. Christian Rasmussen on the outside of 9, trying to make moves on Grosjean.
Stretching their legs for the first time on this opening lap of 90. Dixon was opportunistic. It's McLaughlin leading power, Lundgaard, Award, then Felix Rosenquist in that pink, blue, and white Meyershank Honda.
First lap of the race, tires are cold. Alex Rossi going down the inside of Tom Blomqvist. Little bit of a contact there. They're going to run side by side in 17. No. Colton Herta trying to capitalize on the racing beside him. His teammate Marcus Ericsson, excuse me.
Oh, contact for Colton Herta. That is Santino Ferrucci getting really dirty up the inside.
You do not see contact in turn one at Barber. Oh boy.
You can tell that Colton got hit and was taking none of it as Pato Award is off the track. I think that's in turn 5 at the exit. He finds the grass cleverly to avoid getting stuck in the gravel, but that's a disaster for Award.
He was wrestling this Newgarden and Dixon into the museum complex. Let's go back. There's been multiple incidents so far early on, but let's show you the first of them. You're going to look to the inside, look to the back of the field, and that gold Prix.com car of Stingray Rob gets hit.
Rinus VeeKay, I believe, the fast ECR car, didn't make it out of qualifying after Prague gets into the back of the 41 and starts a 3-car pileup there.
And for a driver that was so frustrated like VeeKay at the issues that prevented him from qualifying well, he's going to get even more frustrated with the drive-through. How about this?
A little bit of bump and grind. Ferrucci trying to be opportunistic there in turn 1, not giving any room to Colton Herta on the exit. Now Canapino, but let's take a look at what happened to Pato Award.
You know what happened? He got in too deep, locked up, was going to hit the back there, I think, of Lundgaard, and decided, I don't want to hit another car in the start like I did at Long Beach, and the right side's got in the grass.
He just got onto the curb there, and it set the car off.
Because he knows he's going to hit Lundgaard, so he had to move over. And
we saw locking from him in that corner in practice, Dylan. It's been a bit of a struggle on the brakes. Colton Herta and Santino Ferrucci, they've already been into each other once. Ferrucci trying again, driving him straight off the track.
Wow!
In turn 5, this is some Formula 1 driving standards right now. That was aggressive from Ferrucci.
Ruthless. Now, remember what Colton did to Newgarden at Long Beach. That went unpenalized. It was a bump, but he didn't spin anybody out. He just moved Newgarden out of the way. How does race control see those two incidents? Very similar in terms of outcome.
Speaking of race control, Rinus VeeKay will be penalized for avoidable contact. He started that domino effect, lap 1, turn 1. Kevin Lee.
It's playing in our hands for entertainment today because we are going to have 2 very different strategies. Scott McLaughlin was just told you have a 7-second gap on the 2 stoppers. So the top 3 are going hard. We think they'll do it on 3. Starting on 4th, some of those back there are saving a little bit, Marty.
Yeah, the top 3 are thinking, oh, and a big wreck, look at that.
Pietro Fittipaldi in the Meyershank Honda. He says, somebody took me out, completely took me out. It has been a problematic weekend for Fittipaldi. He had a steering issue earlier in the weekend, took him off track at the top of the hill at turn 2. And we see caution for the first time this afternoon at Barber. Is VeeKay serving that penalty? But what happened to Pietro? It's been a good weekend for his 2 teammates. It's been a tough weekend for him in his first full season of NTT INDYCAR Series competition. Oh, it's Pato Award. What an eventful start to the day for Pato. We are reorganized, restacked, and ready to go again in the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix with Scott McLaughlin at the head of this field. Put it on the pole position yesterday. He won this race a year ago and would dearly like to do that again and help erase the memories of the disqualification from St. Petersburg at the season opener.
Pretty much single file further back, little side by side there. I think that's Pato O'Ward making moves on Stingray Robb. However, race control could be sending a message to the 5 team pretty soon for a drive-through.
It's about damage control right now, damage limitation for the 5 car. He doesn't want to get caught up in anything else. See some side-by-side there. One of the Hunkos Hollinger cars, I believe, on the outside of Blomqvist there in the MSR car.
The message will be being delivered to Pato O'Ward, I imagine, as we speak. Drive-through penalty for the 5 Arrow McLaren Chevy for taking out Pietro Fittipaldi.
2 rookies there doing battle just behind that. Linus Lundqvist.
Dylan Welsh.
Well, Pato just got word on radio of that decision, and here is his response.
How was that a drive-through, man? That was a freaking racing incident.
Not how I see it, Pato.
I think he'll feel differently when he sees the replay. In the moment, it's so easy to feel that way, to believe that to be true. But once he sees, he strikes the curb, completely loses control of the car, and that's what fires him into
basically
it.
in the side of
It is what it is, but Polo now making moves on Marcus Armstrong, up to 5th place if he makes it stick. He's got those softer red sidewall tires to the primaries on the 11.
And that's a big one for Pelot, because racing your teammate often limits you for being absolutely aggressive and decisive right away, and I'm sure Pelot had to use a bit of discretion to find the right time. Now he can put his head down, go race the competition straight up. Next up is Felix Rosenqvist, just up the road from Pelot. Pelot is doing exactly what I expected, which is wasting no time getting forward. Here it comes.
Here we go. That's where Pato O'Ward and Pietro Fittipaldi came together. Scott Dixon, championship leader, ran off track, and he has fallen back several positions. Turn 5 behind Graham Rahal. Boom.
Looked like he was expecting a gap there that started to appear and then disappeared as Graham moved over to his normal turn-in spot. I don't even know if Graham would have any idea that Dixon's out there, but it's a very low probability position for Scott Dixon to place his race car. It's a bit like Pato O'Ward earlier in the race.
So you see this, it looks maybe like he's defending a little bit. Scott goes for the dive. Graham just fades back over to the normal line, like you said, T-Bell, and it forces Dixon onto the curb there.
Look at Graham's not looking in his right side mirror. He's clearly looking at the apex, so I don't think Graham had any idea that Dixon was going bold to the high side.
So Dixon was running in 7th. He's now in 18th, on board with Graham Rahal.
I'll be really impressed to see how they turn this one, into a win. Christian Lundgaard dive in now. The 3 stoppers. This is too early to do it in Two-Towns without a lot of yellow. So here we go into pit lane. Those used reds, so probably going off a little bit earlier, Marty. They're going to get some new tires and some fuel here.
Fuel, new reds, no front wing.
They started on the alternate used reds, as you mentioned, Hinch, and now they're going to go to sticker alternate tires for Christian Lundgaard. I asked him, do you like the 2 or the 3 earlier today? He said, I like being on offense. So they're sticking with this 3-stop strategy. You heard no changes to the wing as well. Pitting at working lap 25 here for Christian Lundgaard. And yes, you're right, puts him in a box now where they're committed to that 3-stop strategy.
And he pitted from 2nd place, comes back out on track behind Rinus VK from Ed Carpenter Racing.
And a bunch of other cars, James. I don't like that call because it puts Lundgaard in traffic. We've been saying it all race. In order to make 3-stop work, you need clean air. You can't go racing hard nose to tail and expect it to work. Unless Lundgaard had no option, they had burned the fuel.
Burn the fuel, maybe burn the tires. We see a race for position here. Rasmussen and the outside, and Ericsson and Christian.
Rasmussen's off big time.
Can he keep it off the wall, though? Yes, just manages to scrape by. Such a good run going for Rasmussen this entire weekend. That's a terrible, terrible happening for him all the way to the back.
He was pretty stubborn when Kyle Kirkwood got by earlier, hanging on to the outside. We'll have to take another look at this again. But either way, a tough break. On board here with Ericsson. He's on push to pass.
Sells him the dummy, fades left, then hits to the right. He's got the preferred line, and yeah, you can't really hold the outside like that. We see Power now pitting from third.
Working lap 28, that fresh engine inside the number 12 car, which was changed after warm-up this morning because they had an engine issue for Will Power. They never checked up once, did not say fuel for Will Power here. If they get a caution, they might be able to do it in one more stop, but that would be a massive save for Will Power, and I don't think that was in the playbook this morning for this 12 team. He leaves, and you heard Ron Rzucki say, use alternate tires for Will Power.
Where does he cycle out? Behind Dixon, tries to get up to speed as quickly as he can.
Right behind Scott Dixon, but he's got cold reds on as one of the JHR cars. I think that's Canapino, right behind Power. Power can make it through turn 5 without a mistake, but he goes way wide in the apex.
It's tough, again, coming out into a gaggle of cars. It doesn't really work well with that strategy. Another interesting point with him going to the used reds, he still has to use the new reds. That's part of the rule here. As our leader, Kevin Scott McLaughlin, he is in the pits.
He still has some options open. All he needs is a little yellow to make up a couple of laps in a couple of more stints, and maybe he can still get it done on one more stop. Shell Fuel, used Firestone alternates. These are the faster tires, but what this means, he's got a better set of the faster red sidewall stickers to use later in the race.
Yeah, great stuff, Kevin. He'll be fast in the closing phases.
Remember, prior to stopping, he had 8 seconds over Will Power. So the Good Ranchers Chevy comes out, or the meat wagon, as McLaughlin likes to refer to it as. He's back out and at him.
Here's Pillow, lap 30, right on schedule.
Kevin Lee
standing by. And by the way, excuse me, Lee, by the way, Scott McLaughlin was just told you're 8th on the 2 stoppers. He's leading the 3 stoppers, so I think they still have some options, and they're keeping an eye on these cars coming in. As Pillow comes in, Lee.
All right, let's see if this is clean for Alex Pillow in the ridgeline. He's a little slow to get away. Now the Spaniard's released.
You see Christian Lundgaard there, Scott McLaughlin well past.
There goes Will Power. Here comes Pillow. He's going to cycle out right in front of Pato O'Ward. Here's Scott Dixon.
Trying to claw back after the contact with Graham Rahal. Right behind him, Colton Herta pitting as well. Different tire strategies, though, for these 2 Honda cars. Dixon going with the primary sticker tires, and Colton Herta going with the sticker alternate tires. Herta as Pillow cycles back out on the track.
Rossi is stopped on track. He just left the pits, and he is missing his left rear, Kev.
Yeah, he just came in just a moment ago. They were trying to do anything they can to get off strategy. They needed a caution to come soon. He had cycled up to 5th, but he said, tire is loose, and here you're going to see it, where let's go. So a costly error for the 17.
Chances are
tire's not on.
Still some different strategies involved here, and I think we're going to have a pretty interesting straight-up race. This is the sticker set of alternates. These are the faster Firestones available to Scott McLaughlin. Big stint for him. Shell Fuel, and he's out, Marty.
Bit of a gift for Christian Lundgaard, who had pitted so much earlier on the last stop than the other teams that he was going to have to come earlier as well. Will Power on pit road as well. That is sticker alternate tires for Will Power. So these guys who were committed to a 3-stop strategy earlier in the race, even with all these cautions, they're staying committed to it right now.
Different strategies at play here from 2 different groups.
Green flag.
But it's going to be the guy who got his first career victory here at Barber. Alex Pillow leads the field back to green ahead of Maya Shank's Felix Rosenquist.
Watch the leaders go through 2-3, and Scott McLaughlin, Will Power just getting up there. It's crazy to see how much track position they've lost with that caution and the stop. But up top, action as we see Marcus Ericsson having to defend against Rinus VeeKay, who's got himself back in the fight.
VeeKay has been carving his way through the field. Meanwhile, look at that bottom box. Power alongside McLaughlin, the 2 teammates from Penske going at it.
nice move from Will Power, round the outside with authority.
Look in the background. Look from Power back to McLaughlin. Here comes Scotty Mack.
Christian Rasmussen thought about trying that move again. It didn't work the first time. He backed out of it this time. And look, Joseph Newgarden under attack into 12.
VeeKay oh boy, he is pumped after that disappointment in qualifying yesterday where there was an injector issue that prevented his Chevy from going any further. He had been the quickest in a practice session. His tail was in the air. He was ready to go. The car was not. He's going today.
And look at the marbles start to develop at this point in the race. It gets harder to get offline as you see the red and white car there of Scott McLaughlin returning the favor to Will Power.
These guys realize their race is effectively done. Let's just have some fun racing each other. No, I'm kidding. There's still a lot of points on the line now. McLaughlin just up ahead there, trying to size up the next car.
Colton Herta.
Top 2 in the series coming into this race today. Gets Dixon. Herta on Dixon. This is way back down the order in 12th and 13th. Newgarden on the inside of Marcus Ericsson into the museum turns.
That's a defensive move. Ericsson trying to get that position. You see, there is Scott McLaughlin there behind the number 6.
On board here with Herta. He looks to the outside. Oh boy, what a late slice across the back of the gearbox. The timing of that has to be perfect, and it was. That was crazy.
I'm not sure if that was planned or luck, a little bit of luck there, but he is.
Hey, Colton Herta doesn't care.
Look, quick hands. We've talked about that a lot with Colton Herta, and he had the perfect reaction time on that one, executed a great pass.
I don't know if you can have those reflexes in your 40s.
Look at this, look at this. McLaughlin isn't stopping for anybody. So he's got by his teammate, discarded him, now goes past Teo Pourchaire in the Arrow McLaren and is on a mission in that Good Ranchers Chevy.
But in the meantime, Diff, the fortunes for Team Penske, as we see a Team Penske car, Will Power, on board here with Christian Lundgaard. Oh, that was just like Newgarden earlier with Marcus Armstrong.
Lundgaard knew that there was no avenue through and just bailed out of it. Here's what it looked like for Power. Whoop.
Both guys lucky to get away with no damage. Will to the tire, Christian to the front wing. As VK again making some moves. That's on the inside of Grosjean into 12 again. Guys, I can't tell you how difficult it is to execute a pass there. That's not even a brake zone. You kind of just lift and downshift on the way.
I'm going to say this. This is even better than the podium he got here a few years ago. The drive that this 23-year-old Dutch driver is putting on today, Rinus VK, is amazing. Oh boy, there's been an accident of a different kind.
Okay, so that bridge there.
Not a real person, we should point out right away. This is part of the eccentric art that populates Barber Motorsports Park. The question is that enough to warrant a yellow?
Yeah,
I would hope
Is it
so.
inflatable?
No, I think it's a full mannequin. Normally, she's tied up here, hanging down as, a little bit of tongue-in-cheek humor.
Oh, just took out a wrist. You gotta be kidding me.
Oh my goodness.
Who was that was just driving by as it happened? That must have been quite a shock.
Imagine if she stuck the landing. The Stingray Rob in turn 1 in the AJ Foyt car is heavy into the barriers.
I think my steering wheel broke.
He had an incident lap 1, turn 1, and now it's an incident on lap 55.
Yeah, I think so. I wasn't holding on when I hit the wall, but I think that's what happened in the middle of the turn there.
That is a big, big impact.
Pit stops coming under caution at Barber Motorsports Park, and this is a little bit early for those like Alex Palou and Marcus Armstrong trying to come down pit lane right now and be able to get home the rest of the way. Armstrong, Palou back out. Marty, they're going to need some help to get home.
Yeah, Felix Rosenquist second on that two-stop strategy drag race off pit road with a couple of other cars. So to your point, Kevin, they need caution to be able to make this to the end of the race. There's 34 laps to go. By the math hints, you can do 30 laps here on a tank of fuel at Barber Motorsports Park. So are they banking on a caution here?
Yes, I think the short answer is yes. It's hard to hit that number, but we've seen some impressive numbers come out of these cars this year.
We go back to racing here at Barber Motorsports Park. Santino Ferrucci and Linus Lundqvist on their own strategy before you pick up Scott McLaughlin, the leader of one of the two main theories of strategy.
Oh, McLaughlin with a big slide in the dirty air, trying to make something happen behind Lundqvist. He needs to get by and find that lap time.
Here comes Power. Power diving on the inside of Kiffin Simpson. Wasn't close enough. Christian Lundgaard in that black and red Hy-Vee Honda. Here's McLaughlin trying to make it happen fast as he can, but he's not close enough to Linus.
Ferrucci with a great jump on the start there, controlling this thing nicely. Linus Lundqvist wants to put the pressure on. He's never led a lap in IndyCar. He wants to do it now, but Ferrucci holding his own.
No push to pass available until the cars come to the alternate start-finish line to complete the first lap.
And by staying out as long as he could, Linus Lundqvist is helping his Ganassi teammates to keep Scott McLaughlin from really taking off. This is a sticker set of the faster alternates for Linus Lundqvist, who is still trying to get his best result and has a chance to maybe get somewhere between 10th and 15th today.
McLaughlin has the entire midfield straight to himself. Race leader Scott McLaughlin brings the Good Ranchers Chevy to pit road. Is this the winning stop? Is this the winning strategy, Kevin Lee? Here he comes.
And we're really watching Alex Palou in 6th, about 32 seconds behind. So McLaughlin, just in the last few laps, picked up about 6 or 7 seconds. We think it's 27 to 37 seconds. 30 seconds lost on pit lane. Marty, how's it going to come out?
Which strategy works out? Willpower wanted no changes to the car. Alternate scuff tires going on for power. Let's see where the blend happens, and can these new tires make the difference?
Scotty Mack, smooth sailing, keeps the gap to his teammate, and there is Alex Palou.
So easily in and out ahead of the Spaniard, who's on a different strategy and is in kind of conservation mode, nursing this Ridgeline Lubricants Honda to the end. Meanwhile, the two-team Penske Chevys can go hard. 15 laps to go from here, and it's looking good for McLaughlin and Power. The two guys who started on the front row of this race are in great shape. Here's Linus Lundqvist as he flashes by Christian Lundgaard, who just came out of the pits. And Lundqvist, by staying out, led his first ever IndyCar laps today, is doing a really nice job. And that just put Lundqvist into the top 6 legitimately.
Well, here's the thing. Both Lundqvist and Lundgaard have plenty of fuel to burn, but the cars in front, Armstrong, Rosenqvist, and Palou, they are saving like mad. So there's still a chance that these guys could race their way well up into the top 5.
Take a look at this as Linus Lundqvist and Roman Grosjean. Little side-by-side action. Grosjean has to run wide at the exit and straddle.
He was going through the whoops.
With the grind, that's kind of a 50-50 axle grind there. But Lundqvist, you're right, James, he could easily be the top finishing Ganassi driver today.
I think so. This is Marcus Armstrong. He's blowing by right now. You saw how early Armstrong had to lift off the throttle. He came from way back, did Lundqvist, to pull that move off and just in front.
Nice job, buddy. Currently P5, 14 laps to go.
He should be able to get Rosenqvist and Palou, so Lundqvist has a podium in sight.
How about that?
And I think Lundgaard is probably going to be 4th right behind him.
McLaughlin, Power, Palou, and Rosenqvist, who you ride with the AutoNation mobile service. But here comes the flying American Legion Honda of IndyCar rookie Linus Lundqvist.
You just got to be patient here. He doesn't need to force the issue. He's got 14 laps, about to be 13 to go. And he can smell it. He can smell the champagne. He can feel the hardware in his hands, guys. This could be a huge result for the rookie.
And think about if he is able to get on the podium, what he's able to do. He's had to go by guys who he has only watched trackside before. Now they're his peers. Now they're his competitors, and one of them is his two-time and defending series champion, Alex Palou. That's Rosenqvist done. Just like that. Turn 5, easily. Next on the list.
Buddy, that's Alex in front. Let's go get him.
Let's go get him.
It's such a helpless feeling for these drivers that were on the two-stop strategy, having to save that fuel and just lift no matter what. Your soul is telling you to keep your foot buried into it, but you just can't do it.
Take a look at this replay on pit lane as Christian Lundgaard was coming down to make his stop as Scotty Mack was launching. And whoa, that could have been really painful for McLaughlin with any front wing damage, with seemingly a victory in hand as Lundgaard successfully avoids everything there on pit lane.
Cost both drivers at least a second, if not more, but still plenty of gap when McLaughlin emerged.
So Lundgaard has Marcus Armstrong just in front of him now, and like Linus Lundqvist, I think Lundgaard should easily be able to get by and lock into that fourth position. And here's the battle for third.
There is no battle. That was just a blow-by. The rookie on the champ. Whoa!
Oh!
Rasmussen! Around he goes. Great avoidance from four other cars and drivers.
Oh, are we
is
going to
like-
have a
Wow.
caution with 5 to go? Engine dead
There
stick.
it is.
Let's finish this one off. Here we go. McLaughlin and Power at the front of the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix.
Big advantage for Scott McLaughlin is that clean air through that first high-speed corner. Will Power trying to stay close through 2 and 3, but it's not close enough. Linus Lundqvist looks like he might be looking to make a charge on Power.
I think Lundqvist is going to have a real go at Power. Down into turn 5. Inside the last couple of laps, Rosenqvist and Palou. Turn 5, one the inside, one the outside. Fro rounds him up.
I think that's the red tire advantage for Rosenqvist, rim-shotting Alex Palou.
I think you're exactly right, Townsend. He had that extra grip, even though he went a bit deep. You can ride the outside there and have that momentum up the back straight. Rosie with a great pass there, but look at Linus Lundqvist all over the back of Will Power. Scott McLaughlin heading off into the distance, looking for the white flag in a few corners.
This is the stuff that dreams are made of. For Linus Lundqvist as a rookie to be chasing down a 2-time champion and an Indy 500 winner in Will Power, one of the most famous names in IndyCar history.
And
No pressure behind you. Nice job.
Lundqvist with 55 seconds just became eligible on that push to pass, but he doesn't look close enough yet. Here in turn 2, he'll have a great shot going to the brake zone if he can stay close, but James, it just doesn't look like he's got the gap there.
It's just a little too much. Certainly, you see the push to pass, everybody being generous on it right now. Palou trying to hang on to that 5th position. Lundgaard behind him, doesn't have much push to pass. This is the battle for the last podium spot. But lots of breathing room for Scott McLaughlin, the thirsty threes, and that meat wagon Teo Pocher around in turn 5. Most of the field's by, they'll probably stay green.
So McLaughlin, whose week started with controversy, couldn't believe when he got the news that himself and Joseph Newgarden were disqualified from the season opener for the team being outside the rules and regulations of the push to pass. He was last in the championship points after that DQ. He has answered it emphatically. Scotty Mack, McLaughlin wins at Barber for back-to-back years, and Team Penske back on top.
Oh yeah, 33 to the moon, boys. Thank you so much. Well done, team. So proud of the execution. So proud. Thank you.
What a way for Team Penske to answer Scott McLaughlin on the pole. Survived a late restart with his teammate Will Power. Comes through with the win here. After the week at Team Penske, was there a point to prove today?
No, like it's we're just gonna keep rolling. You know, we know our job, we know what we need to do. I'm just super proud of the execution. The good ranch Chevy was so good. A couple of yellows didn't pull our way, but we just showed our pace, and super proud of everyone. And just we just keep rolling, man. Just execution. That's our word. And just get going.
How about this win and where it ranks for you career-wise? Because it's got to be a gratifying one, Scott.
Yeah, that's a good one. You know, it's definitely one of my best drives in terms of just execution and just knocking out the laps, and really happy we could advance to the checkered flag there and bring home a W for Team Penske and for Roger. And sorry, Mum and Dad, I was one race too long, but I know you're watching at home, and yeah, I miss you guys.
Tell me about that restart with your teammate Will Power. You saw the caution come out and your lead of 3.5 seconds erased. How worried were you about that restart?
I knew our pace. I knew we could control it and be. Obviously, you got to make sure that you don't make a mistake with a guy like Will behind you, and he's always going to push hard. But you know, I knew we had some pace and we could cover them when we needed to, and I was proud of that.
How about this jump in the championship standings? Kyle Moyer said you're back in it. You gained 20 spots today. You're now 9th.
Let's go. Let's keep going.
There you go. Scotty Mack goes back-to-back here at Barber Motorsports Park.
Up next, it's the Sanzio Grand Prix, Saturday, May 11th. Watch it at 3 p.m. on NBC.